So the oil change is pretty straightforward and easy on this tractor, and I've got John Deere oil. I use 10W40. The tractor holds 9 quarts with the filter, and so I buy gallon jugs. So 2 of these is 8 quarts, and 1 of those, it makes it 9. I've got a John Deere oil filter, and with those things, some shop rags, a pan. I've got a wrench here that I'll use, and it's an easy oil change. Put down a piece of cardboard to catch any stray oil. So let me get myself situated here, and we'll drain the oil out of the pan and take that filter off. Okay, so right there's the drain plug, and get my wrench on it here, and I've already loosened it a little bit, but kind of give you an idea. It's pretty easy. And what I'll do here is I can operate the camera, and there it is. I don't know what it is about a diesel engine that makes the oil so black, but it does, and this tractor is no exception. Once it gets through draining, I'll move the filter, the pan underneath the filter, and this little white pan right here actually is just the right size. Can't say that this tractor really uses any oil. If it does, it's ever so slight. It's a 3-cylinder diesel, and I'll have another video on the tractor and talk about the various features of it and what I like, and maybe even a few things I don't like. But the filter's here, and the oil fill is right here. So everything's pretty much at your fingertips. There's the dipstick, and so I'll let it drain there for a little bit. Alright, I've emptied the pan into another jug to make room for the whatever seepage we get off of this filter, and I've taken the plug and kind of snugged it up there by hand. And what I'll do here is just kind of snug this down, not too tight, just snug. I got a big wrench, but you know, I don't like putting my foot up against it. It would be a disaster if I stripped the threads on the bottom of that pan. So I got that, and then I got my wrench here. It's already went ahead and put it on there, and see if I can turn this filter off. Now it's starting to move, and probably see some oil start to seep out. Position my pan a little better, and it'll run onto the frame here a little bit and drip, but there it goes right there, right into the pan, and then a little bit on the side here. I just kind of let it drip there as much as I can, and then I'll get the filter off here. It's starting about ready to come off. And then I just kind of try to keep it turned up so I'm not spilling oil. And then I'll take this and just lay it in the pan. One of the things I look for when I'm changing oil is I want to make sure that this O-ring, for lack of a better word, that from the old filter there's not one still stuck to that surface. And I've had that happen one time, and I didn't notice it, and I tightened the filter down, and this was on a car many years ago. And as soon as I started the car up, oil started squirting everywhere. So make sure that there's not an O-ring from the old filter. And then what I like to do is I like to just put a little film of oil on this thing so that when it tightens down, presumably it won't stick and distort. And then I realize this may be kind of tedious, but it's part of the oil change. It's part of the oil change video, so. And screw that guy down. I'll hand tighten it. And then I'll put my filter wrench back on. And what I'm doing here is I'm not tightening the filter down tight. I'm just kind of giving it just a, and sometimes I use my fingers, and I just kind of giving it just a little bit of a snug, and that's it. So the drain is down here, easy to get to, and the filter's right here, really easy to get to. And here is the cap for the oil, and I've already loosened it up. And now go ahead and pour this jug in, and then I'll put the camera down so that I can fill up the rest of it. This is 15W40 oil. It's John Deere oil. And normally in my other tractors I'd probably be using Rotella. In my International gasser, I use a low ash oil, a really low ash oil from Case IH, and that's kind of a requirement from that particular engine design. We'll have a video on the International and what's going on with it. All right, let me get the rest of the oil in here, and then I'll be done. So I've got all the oil in the tractor, and it holds 9 quarts at around 7.5, maybe 7 quarts, and I'll tell you why that is here in a minute. I'll start the tractor, let it run through, and presumably it fills up the filter. That's the way I was taught. Put the filter on, be 1 quart short, somewhere in that neighborhood, and then start it, let it run, look for some leaks, and then top it off. I can use a funnel on this opening, but that doesn't work very good, and the reason why is this oil, this thing right here, makes a 90-degree turn and goes back that way. And so when you're filling this thing up with oil, if you let it go too fast, it'll rise up and then spill out. So I don't use a funnel because I can get the lip of the jug right on it and pour it straight in, and I can see the oil rising up, and I can back off or tip the jug forward a little bit to keep adding oil. And then when I get to the end, the body of this jug is such that I can't get all of the oil out of it and into the tractor. So there's usually 3/4 to a quart of oil left. And what I'll do is I'll take and just pour that into this jug, and I can completely fill the tractor with oil. And once I do that, it's just a simple matter of screwing this guy back on. And this oil change is over. What I have left is to clean everything up, and we're done with the oil change.